So this is a breakdown of my song Lord You Know from my most recent album, which is now available on all streaming platforms, so go listen to it, please. And I'm just gonna go straight into it. I'm gonna just play a bit of it first, and then we will break it down because there's a lot more happening in it than there was in the last one. The way that my heart, how I live day to day. Every single hair, each little part of me. The amount of love that breaks in my cup overflowing now. Even if these bites are all I have to give. I want it to be a bit groovy. It's a bit groovy. I just, it's just sounds very like wind chimey and bell, and it's not the worst thing on planet Earth, but in the future I'll make better things because this is something. Anyway, let's start off with the drums. For the kick, it is a very syncopated rhythm. The kick is 2 individual bits layered together. So there is a main kick, and then there is a texture kick. And like the way that that tambourine in it, that is what I wanted to add to the kick. The snares are a bit interesting because there's a lot of snares happening. So there's like a main snare, which is these 2 snares put together. Like a snare and a clap. Some of the odd ones, there's like a snare layered on top of it as well. A snare. Is it a clap or a snare? Hang on. There's like a snare layered on top of it, and just add a bit of variation throughout the whole thing. On the last like 4th beat of it, there's also a clap. For the hi-hat, it is a very simple rhythm. I didn't do anything much on the hi-hats because I just wanted it to be very simple. A lot of the randomness wanted to come from the percussion, which I think I did a good job of because it's kind of groovy. So it's very random percussion sounds. And then the last thing is some top loops that I added for some percussion. And just the top loop. We need the top loop just for the sake of adding some energy. Make pop music. That is the drums all together. In the verses, it's the same snare sounds, just without the clap and the percussion. And it's a different rhythm, which I'll play for you right now. Sounds alright. And then the bridge is just a kick on its own. I took out some bits for some sections of the chorus, took out some bits for other sections of the chorus. And yeah, that is the drums. Now let's go to the bass. It's the same bass line playing the whole time. There's like a bass line part which is actually playing a bass line, which is... Yeah, so it's these ones all together. Started off with an electric bass, just to have like a live bass feel in there. And then I also put on a preset from Alchemy, which is the Agile Synth bass for like an electric, for like a synthy sound, which isn't a live bass sound. There was like a higher bass sound that I used as well for like a mid bass, which I think is a bit high for mid bass, but I use that, and it's also an Alchemy preset, analog funk bass, and just for like an analog feel. And then I also added another layer for there to be some attack in general. So those 4 instruments together make up the bass line, and then there was just these held notes which just filled out the chorus a bit more. I got one of them from Retro Synth, hollowed bass, and then I got another one from Alchemy, which is analog dark bass, and they work together very well in my opinion. In the bridge, it's the long held bass, and also in the pre-chorus it's also the long held bass as well. But in the verses it's just the electric bass and the plucky bass mainly, because I wanted to have some distinction between the verses and the chorus sections. And then in the chorus, it's both of them playing together. I will then go to the chorus. So for the chords, it's basically the same chords the whole way through, except for the pre-chorus and the bridge. A minor, F, C, G. For the chords, like the sections in the chords, there was a lead sound, then there was a main chord sound, and then it was layering. First thing that happened was the lead section, which is how the song starts off. I actually made a preset in Alchemy. That's what the preset is. I don't really know anything else about how I really did anything. I wanted it to be a bit more like a square thingy, but you know, I did something in Alchemy. And then I added some of whatever this is. I think it's a guitar, yeah. But yeah, altogether it sounds like that. And then that is when I then moved on to the chord section. The main chord sounds are these two sounds. Very wide, very airy. So then after I put in the mid I wanted, I got these two things. I got these two presets from Alchemy. Soft synth bells and Glylophone's glass xylophone stack, and then I combined them together, and then I made that basically. The main sound is the main sound is the glass xylophone, and then the synth bell is meant to be a lavalier on top of it, so that it's like kind of full all together. And then once I did that, I added some layering. This first one, Epic Synth String Ensemble, was basically layering the chords with high notes to give more coverage to the frequency spectrum, again from Alchemy. This sweet pop thing, it sounded a bit weird and I liked how it sounded, so I used that for the main body to like fill the main body out with a random texture. And then Heavenly Vox is really nice. That was to fill out the low section because it sounded kind of cool in the low, even though I feel like it's meant to be high, but I used it low and it sounded really nice in my opinion. I layered that with a very different sounding thing, which sounds very different. Like, I mean, it's not really like, I wouldn't like, you know, obviously it's very weird sounding, but like it's not awful, and I think it filled the low section nicely, and I didn't put it too high in the mix, so it's okay. In the bridge and the pre-chorus, I use different chords, yeah, but I also use different instruments. I use pads, and it will just have a different kind of texture to everything else. Yeah, it's just to have a different sound to everything. These are both from Alchemy, and it was just a different sound, so I used it to have some contrast between the verses and the choruses. And I also have a section in between the bridge and the last chorus where there's like a bit where it goes into like a piano fake chorus, which I like to call it. So that's all the chords, instruments. Now let's just go to the vocals and I think the best thing that I did in this whole album.
No, he didn't. Oh, Slim Shady.
The way of my heart, how I live day to day. Every single hair, each little part of me. The amount of love that breaks in my cup overflowing now. It's like a huge life, but it's not. The way of my heart, how I live day to day. Every single hair, each little part of me. The amount of love that breaks in my